Hi, Daniel here. I've used Cubase as my main DAW since version 4, so I thought it'd be fun to rank the stock audio effects plugins that Steinberg has built over the decades. First, a quick breakdown. S tier is the best Cubase has to offer, A tier is very good, highly recommend, B tier, dependable, good but not great, C tier, situational usage, and D tier, underwhelming, look elsewhere. There's over 80 plugins in Cubase Pro, so grab a snack and let's get into it. The plugins are grouped by effects type. First up, in the analyzer portion, we only have Supervision. Introduced in Cubase 11, it's an audio monitoring suite with over 20 modules for levels, phase, spectrum and spatial analysis, and the layout is fully customizable. Good for comparing mixes, where I like to use multi-correlation for monocompatibility across the frequency spectrum and much more. S tier. Moving to delays. Mod Machine. This was first added in Cubase 4, a delay with filter, drive, and LFO modulation. The UI is confusing at first, but it can produce decent delay once you learn it. B tier. Another one from Cubase 4, Mono Delay. Has low and high pass filters on the feedback loop to make repeats sound more distant. Good for vocal or guitar slapback. Easy to use, but nothing special. C tier. Steinberg brought multi-tap delay in Cubase 10.5. Up to 8 taps on one delay line, each with its own effect chain, plus vintage and modern delay emulations. Basically supersedes Mod Machine, but can be CPU heavy and not the easiest to learn. Great for sound design, vocals, guitars, pretty much almost anything. S tier. Ping Pong Delay. This one's been around since Cubase 4.2. Alternates each repeat between left and right channels. Used it a lot for vocals, but other delays have surpassed it. C tier. Also from Cubase 4, Stereo Delay. It's basically two independent mono delay lines with stereo placement control. Same story, I used to reach for it often, but better options exist now. C tier. Studio Delay. This arrived in Cubase 14, a delay with built-in modulation, distortion, reverb, and pitch effects. Think of it as a simplified multi-tap delay that can still go from clean echoes to wild textures. Sometimes faster to dial in than multi-tap. No built-in Docker, but a sidechain compressor solves that. A tier. We enter the distortion category, starting with Amp Simulator. Been around since Cubase 4, it emulates guitar, amplifier, and cabinet combos, can get an okay sound but is basic, and superseded by other amp plugins. D tier. Bit Crusher. An old plugin from Cubase SX. It reduces bit depth for distinct digital distortion, useful when stacked with other plugins for a lo-fi sound. C tier. The Tube. Also from the Cubase SX era, it emulates the warmth of a tube amp, good on kicks for thump and bass for bite, only small amounts work on vocals. C tier. Distortion. Wave shaping distortion with a sine wave display. Got an oversampling button in Cubase 10 to reduce aliasing, but it's bugged, adding a low shelf and a high cut. D tier. Destroyer. Landed in Cubase 10, it restricts distortion to a set frequency range and oversamples properly. B tier. Grungelizer. A 20-plus-year-old plugin. Adds static, AC hum, crackle, and turntable noise with adjustable RPM for lo-fi radio. C tier. Magneto 2 showed up in Cubase 7.5. It simulates analog tape saturation, provides subtle warmth on any instrument or the mix bus. I use it constantly. A tier. Quadrafuzz version 2. Arrived in Cubase 8, it's a 4-band distortion plugin with 5 types, plus per band gate delay with ducking and stereo width. Great on drums, bass, even mixes. S tier. Soft Clipper. It's been around since Cubase 4. It's overdrive with second and third harmonic control, but no waveform display, no extra algorithms, no oversampling. Not a fan of the sound. D tier. VST Amp Rack. Added in Cubase 6, it's a guitar amp sim with cabinets, mic positioning, and pedal effects. Blackface, British Custom, and Plexi models sound pretty good for lead guitar, and the presets are solid too. B tier. VST bass amp. Cubase 8 gave us the same idea as VST amp rack, but for bass. It adds multi-band compression and even magneto too, plus more mic options, and the presets are solid. B tier. We're entering the biggest effects section with dynamics plugins, starting with Black Valve. Arrived in Cubase 13, it's vintage tube compression and saturation with fixed attack and release, and a single drive knob, solid on vocals, bass, drums, guitars, and synths. B tier. Brick Wall Limiter. This debuted in Cubase 7. A limiter is just a high ratio compressor, so the threshold sets the ceiling. Has a faster attack than the standard limiter, plus detect intersample clipping to prevent peaks that slip between digital samples. Has an auto release, but no makeup gain, and adds 1 millisecond of latency. B tier. Compressor. It's been a part of Cubase since version 4, reducing dynamic range with a transparent sound, and I use it fairly often. Has peak and RMS detection, auto release, soft knee, decent auto makeup gain, and look ahead. There is one catch: the dry mix knob doesn't crossfade between dry and wet like you'd expect. It adds the dry signal on top instead of replacing it at 100%. No other Cubase compressor works this way, and it feels like a design oversight. B tier. The de-esser. Updated in Cubase 8, it tames sibilance on vocals. The sidechain filter lets you target and boost specific frequencies, so the de-esser is more effective. B tier. The Envelope Shaper has been in Cubase since version 4. It's a transient designer for boosting and cutting, attack and release. It's great on kicks and rhythm guitars, and the release control also works as an alternative to a noise gate for killing room ambience. A tier. The Expander, also added in Cubase 4, it's basically a compressor in reverse, which attenuates below the threshold to widen dynamic range or reduce noise. Can sometimes sound more natural than a gate, especially in RMS mode, since it tends to ignore lip noise and breaths. B tier. The Gate. This version arrived in Cubase 4 and has everything you'd need for silencing gaps in audio, including an internal sidechain to set the frequency center that triggers it. A tier. The limiter has been around since Cubase 4. It's a basic zero latency limiter with makeup gain and auto release, but no intersample clipping detection. C tier. Maximizer. Raises loudness, then limits and optionally soft clips at the threshold. Cubase 9 added a modern release algorithm that sounds more transparent. The higher the recover percentage, the louder things get. I use it a lot. A tier. The MIDI Gate. The current UI since Cubase 10, but has been around for decades. Gates audio but triggers from MIDI notes. Solid for rhythmic effects from a sustained sound. B tier. The multi-band compressor. This version of the plugin was added in version 4, splitting the signal into 4 bands with independent level, bandwidth and compression. I use it on the master bus, avoiding short attack times to keep the impact. Auto makeup gain is on by default, and the only way to disable it is via the per band sidechain filter. Still A tier. The multi-band envelope shaper. Added in Cubase 8, it offers frequency-based transient shaping across 4 bands. I've used it sparingly on 808s and kicks. I reach for the regular envelope shaper more. B tier. The multi-band expander. Also added in Cubase 8, it attenuates below the threshold per band to clean up frequency-specific noise. I rarely need it since I started using spectral layers. Still a B tier. Next we have Razor, landed in Cubase 12 with extensive release controls for perceived loudness. It's more aggressive and customizable than Maximizer, my go-to for mastering loudness. The real-time graphic display of the limiting impact is nice. It handles intersample clipping and a compare switch to level match the audio. S tier. Squasher. Shipped with Cubase 11, it's a multi-band compressor and the only stock plugin with upward compression. Good for vocals, adding punch to percussion, and fatter synths. It's Steinberg's answer to the OTT preset from Ableton's multi-band dynamics processor. Both phase shift at the crossovers even with no processing applied. A tier. The tube compressor, updated in Cubase 9.5, the drive and character knobs control saturation and its frequency range respectively, plus has a sidechain filter, smooth on vocals and bass, B tier. Ultra Shaper. Brand new in Cubase 15, it's a compressor, transient shaper, clip limiter, and EQ in one. Auto gain for level matching isn't just an on-off switch, plus has the real-time waveform and transfer curve visuals. It's an S tier. The Vintage Compressor. Updated in Cubase 9.5, it feels 1176 inspired, easy to use, and great punch thanks to a punch button that preserves the attack. I'm gonna go with A tier. Vox Comp arrived in Cubase 13. It's a vocal-focused compressor, seemingly inspired by Wave's RVox. No attack or release or ratio control, just threshold, but it sounds decent for a quick mix. B tier. VST Dynamics. Appeared back in Cubase SX, it's a channel strip combining gate, compressor and limiter, each stripped to its essential parameters. I prefer using each as a separate plugin for more flexibility. C tier. Shifting focus, we have DJ EQ. Added in Cubase 6.5, it's a free band EQ styled after DJ mixers. Basic, and I'm not a fan. D tier. The EQ P1A, this one arrived in Cubase 13. It's a Pultec emulation, a character EQ where boost and attenuation interact in the lows and highs. I've started to lean on it more for vocals and full mixes with decent results. B tier. The EQ M5, also new in Cubase 13. It's a Pultec style vintage tube EQ suited to mid-range work for fixing boxiness and mud. It's decent. B tier. Frequency 2 showed up in Cubase 11, Steinberg's answer to FabFilter Pro EQ. It's got 8 parametric bands, each with an internal external sidechain, dynamic EQ, linear phase, and mid-side modes. Has auto listen, which solos the band you're editing, plus has up to 96 dB per octave high pass and low filters. It's an S tier. GEQ 10 and GEQ 30. These have been around since Cubase 4. They're fixed band graphic EQs, and GEQ 10 has wider bands covering more of the spectrum with plus and negative 12 dB per band, and tonal modes hard to replicate with parametric EQs, although I don't really use these as often anymore. They're both C tier. Studio EQ has been in Cubase since version 4. It's a 4-band parametric EQ like the channel strip EQ, minus the pre-filters. It's inferior to Frequency 2 in almost every way except auto gain, which keeps the loudness constant while you judge tone. I don't rely on auto gain much, but some may find it useful. This is C tier. You move to filters, starting with the auto filter. Arrived in Cubase 14, its cutoff modulates from the input or sidechain signal. It's built for Cubase modulators. I'm giving it a B. Dual filter. This goes back to Cubase 4. It filters out specific frequencies while passing others. It feels redundant in Cubase now. D tier. The Morph filter, added in Cubase 6.5, it blends two filter setups with the Morph parameter, which is automation friendly. It's a creative step up from dual filter. C tier. The Step filter, a step sequencer wired to a filter cutoff and resonance with glide between steps, but doesn't have a swing option. Cubase 12 added cutoff and resonance randomization, though I've not toyed with that feature when I've used it. It's a B tier. The Tone Booster has been around since Cubase 4. It raises gain in a chosen frequency range. There's better options that exist now. It's a D tier. Underwater, splashed in Cubase 14. It's a low-pass filter for that Drake-style underwater lo-fi effect, combining downsampling with low-pass filtering. It's a C tier. Wah-Wah. Available since Cubase 4, it's a bandpass filter auto-controlled by sidechain or MIDI, modeling the classic analog pedal. It's automation dependent, but instantly recognizable. Giving it a C. The only, quote, mastering plugin in Cubase is the Lin 1 Diver, which replaced the UV22HR in Cubase 12. Adds quiet noise to mask quantization error, put it in last in the chain when bouncing to a lower bit depth. A tier. We're now at Modulation. Starting with Auto Pan. Overhauled in Cubase 9, it automatically pans left to right with tempo sync, adjustable start point, width, speed and smoothness, plus a graphical panorama curve for custom shapes, which shows exactly what's happening. It's A tier. The Chopper. It's decades old, it's tremolo, that's volume modulation, but with adjustable curves, plus optional panning. It's an improved tremolo, but a weaker auto pan. It's good on risers for motion or spot effects. It's a B tier. Chorus. This dates back to the Cubase SX days. It's a single stage chorus that doubles the signal with a delayed, detuned copy via LFO. It's basic, and FX Modulator's chorus sounds better to me. It's a C tier. The Cloner. Introduced in Cubase 4, it's an automatic double tracking style plugin, adding up to 4 detuned delayed voices for rich chorus thickening. It's great for wide vocals, but easy to make phasey and unfocused if overdone. Does have more than 100 milliseconds of plugin latency at 48 kHz. It's a B tier for me. The Flanger. This one is from the SX era. Classic flanging, which is a delayed copy of the signal with a shifting delay time with added stereo enhancement. It's a C tier. The FX Modulator, introduced in Cubase 12, it's Steinberg's take on Cable Guy's Shaper Box. It combines multiple modulation effects with custom LFO shapes. It supports MIDI and sidechain triggering. It's an A tier. The Metalizer has been around since Cubase SX. It sends a signal through a comb and bandpass filters in series. It definitely sounds metallic. It's a C tier. The Phaser. Also from Cubase SX, it adds the phasing effect of sweeping peaks and cuts against the dry signal. If I reach for it, it's on guitars, synths and pads. It's a C tier. Ring Modulator, another SX plugin. It multiplies the signal by a built-in oscillator for dissonant inharmonic tones. Useful for sound design. C tier. Rotary. Decades old, simulates a Leslie rotary speaker's swirling pitch effect. Used it a few times on organ and pads. C tier. Studio Chorus. Arrived in Cubase 4, it's 2 independent cascaded chorus stages. It's good on keys. B tier. The Transformer. This appeared back in Cubase SX. It's a ring modulator driven by an internal variable oscillator. Good for sci-fi or experimental design. C tier. The Tremolo. Also around since Cubase SX. It's amplitude modulation and basically a weaker chopper. D tier. Vibrato, another SX plugin. It modulates pitch, but it can't shape the vibrato curve or modulate the tone. Nevertheless, it's a C tier. The only miscellaneous or other plugin is Loop Mash Effects. Showed up in Cubase 7.5, it's got DJ effects like turntable backspin, tape start and stop, stutter and more. A tier. We entered the pitch shifting portion, starting with Octaver. Been around since Cubase 4, it adds up to 2 lower octave shifted voices. It's okay for vocal spot effects or fattening kicks and bass, but it's a C tier based on its quality. Pitch Correct arrived in Cubase 5. It's real-time pitch detection and correction with chord track support. It's decent, but it doesn't match Antares Auto-Tune, and the 40 millisecond latency rules out live use. It's a B tier. Pitch Shifter debuted in Cubase 15, Steinberg's take on Little Altar Boy. Pitch shifting with format preservation and saturation, great for vocal texture, but the 200 millisecond plus latency also rules out live use. B tier. The vocoder. Released in Cubase 13, it applies one signal's characteristics, the modulator, for example vocals, to another, the carrier being a synth most likely, to make it talk. The pitch always follows the carrier's MIDI notes. B tier. We're at reverbs now with Revelation, shipped with Cubase 7.5. It's a character algorithmic reverb with early reflection and tail balance, pitch modulation and room size. It has better early reflection control to give it an edge over Roomworks for plates and spacious reverbs. It's an A tier for me. Reverence. Part of Cubase since version 5. Convolution reverb that loads impulse responses from real spaces like concert halls, studios, chambers. It's great for large spaces and reversed tails, but I reach for Revelation more. It's a B tier. Roomworks. First appeared in Cubase SX3. It's more tweakable than Reverence. It still sounds a bit metallic to me. C tier. Roomworks SE. Also from Cubase SX3, it's a smaller, lighter version of Roomworks with fewer parameters, and sounds even more metallic to me. It's a D tier. Shimmer debuted in Cubase 14. It's a reverb and pitch shifter in a delay loop for ethereal textures. It's an A tier. We enter the Spatial Panner section, and I'm skipping ambisonics and surround sound exclusive tools since I don't use them. We start with the Imager, released in Cubase 11. It independently adjusts stereo image across 4 frequency bands. I use it constantly in mastering. Has around 100 milliseconds of latency, likely from linear phase filtering. S tier. Mono to stereo. This one's from Cubase SX. Fakes stereo from a mono source using EQ boosts and cuts panned to the opposite sides. It's effective. B tier. The Stereo Enhancer, also been in Cubase since SX. It widens stereo material by altering the left-right phase relationships. It sounds good on synths and full mixes when used sparingly. It's B tier. The VST Multi-Panner, added in Cubase 12, it's built for surround 3D panning, but is usable on stereo. Panning is normally the last step before the signal is routed to the next bus. If you want the ability to change where panning occurs in the signal chain, use this plugin. In stereo, only X and width really matter, with width acting like a stereo combined panner for better soundstage control. It's a B tier. Within Surround, there is one plugin that I'll review, and that's Mixer Delay. Was introduced in Cubase 6. It adjusts level and delay per channel, not just for surround. It's arguably the easiest way to delay just the left or right channel by any amount. It's a B tier. We enter the Tools section now with Test Generator, rounding out the SX era tools. This one generates test tones for checking audio gear, plugins, or for creative mixing. It's solid. It's B tier. The Tuner first appeared in Cubase 4. It's a simple guitar tuner. Works fine for guitar, not so much for bass. C tier. Volume debuted in Cubase 14. It controls volume independently from the mix console fader. It's useful for adjusting the gain between different plugins or feeding a Cubase modulator. C tier. And finally, the vocal section. And the only vocal-based plugin, according to Steinberg, is the Vocal Chain. Arrived in Cubase 13, Steinberg's take on Isotope Nectar. It contains 16 modules covering vocal processing end-to-end, each trimmed to essential parameters like with the VST Dynamics plugin. It's the only stock plugin with an exciter. It has noticeable latency, so it's not for live use. but it's an A tier. And that's a wrap. Let me know your S tier and D tier stock plugins in the comments. And as always, take care.